has got the facts for you. EX the storyteller, bringing the spark. No one does it better. EX, you've heard the rest, but she's the best. Yeah, she's the best. Oh, from ancient tales to modern schemes, unraveling truths and chasing dreams.
To some kind of harm that had nothing to do with Negroes being the property of white people, who children who was thrown in fireplaces by white women. This has nothing to do with Indians. This have everything to do with my grandmother and my grandmother's mother.
Can I say something real fast? When it
Go
comes
ahead.
to enslaved people from India, not Indonesia, just to clarify, India, that was not something that happened in America. So
No, I
when you
didn't
see
say.
when you see documents of Indians being enslaved in America, those were actually American Indian people who some of us may descend from.
Okay.
So
Yeah, no, I'm not. That's fine and dandy that you have the history on the Indonesians and the India or whatever it is you're putting in this conversation. I'm trying to actually just make a difference between the Negroes, who everyone knows that were the property of white people, not Indians, but Negroes. Negroes was the property of white people.
Well, that's what
And
I'm trying to clarify for you. Indians were also enslaved, literally
No,
enslaved.
but that's not
in the
built on 500 years of reparation of building anything. Indians didn't build nothing. They agricultured everything. They cultivated things.
And then
But
also,
they did
sister,
not build.
the Indians already got the Indians got
Yeah,
their
they already
resolution already.
exactly.
They,
So
they
this,
got their. Go ahead. So go ahead.
yeah,
She's right.
exactly. So they were
If you wasn't
already.
if you're not a Negro, if you wasn't misclassified and affected by the status changes and all of that, then you have no claim. The Indians
Right.
already got everything they needed. They got treaties, they X, Y, and Z.
Right.
So now they're
Exactly.
trying to double. They can't come back and double dip now.
Yeah,
Nah,
exactly. But this particular letter and the people who are interfering, and I just think it's greed. Me personally, I think other organization and ethnicity know what they're doing. I just think it's greed, and I just think it's not really having. This is just my personal opinion of people, and I could be wrong, but I just think it's greed, and because greed has now got into the play of everything, it is now creating these havocs where you got this letter right now today that allows the government to step in and say, based on race, which is color, anyone can now come in and say, hey, hold on, this reparation payout is discriminating against me because I was a black Indian. They can use the word black, that's race, and they're entitled to something. What I think that my people, Negroes, should do and the foundational Black Americans should do, I think we as a people should now go from a different direction to recover our reparation under human rights violation. So now it's specific to my group of people, specific to my people being specifically harmed back then and back and right now today. That's my approach. It pretty close. I'm going to put it together pretty close around maybe 26, 27, somewhere when Trump is about to get out of the office, but he needs our vote and actually to stay in office or participate. That's when I believe that it'll be easier for me to actually get the payout that we're looking for. It's just kind of in works right now, and I haven't really had a chance to deal with it, but it is on my table legally. So, but anyway, go ahead.
Sister Kim, I had one other question for you, and it, of course, is to get your opinion. And thank you so much for coming on this panel and giving us your insight. This letter to me feels like a violation of the equal protection clauses. I know that it's saying that, race-based policies are unconstitutional because they are, but it also still feels like a violation of the equal protection clause. And I say that because out of California, there have been a couple of bills that specified other groups of people that were not challenged, like, for instance, it went to all people who have small hats and, those, I don't know if you can say what their religion is on TikTok. I'm not sure, but you know who the heck I'm talking about. Or also, we see the same thing. There's different, bills that for resources that specifically, went to Latinos. I didn't see anything through the airwaves about that being a violation. But this one is saying like, hey, if you move forward with these, we're probably going to sue you. So is this a violation of equal protection clauses, or am I just looking too much into it and I'm just being emotional?
No, it is, because if you identify, if one group gets something and we say, well, black people mostly say we don't care, that's your thing. We that's just how we roll. We don't get involved in other people's, efforts to get remedies for whatever harm they have. But other people don't respect us enough to let us get the same remedy that they got. And usually time I think that's based on fear. I think it's based on fear of them actually seeing us having the liberty and freedom and customary practices and privilege that they're used to having, but we're fighting to have. And once we actually get there, I think that they're going to see that we're now really on equal ground, and we will surpass them. And I think that's the greatest fear. But to just backtrack a little bit, I do want to let you know that when you start talking about the Constitution and it has the 14th Amendment in there, and it start talking about equalities, we could say the same things about when the Latino got something for whatever reason they got it for. We could have said that that's not giving us an equality. It's not equality across the board because they got something saying black and brown. But however, they group was the only one who benefit by, even though they said black and brown and diversity funds or allocation or whatever that they got. But when it comes down to it, we can actually prove that we did not benefit from that allocation of money that they got, especially during COVID, whether y'all know it or not. They got a lot of money during COVID, and they used the terminology that they were going to help black and brown communities based on the demographic that they were in.
Wait. Can I chime in on a couple of things because I have a problem with them even attacking
One
race.
minute
Both
delineation is
race.
1 minute delineation is
Yeah.
Keisha, thorough black talk. I sent you an invite. If you want to come up, there's space on the panel for you. That's it. That's all I wanted to say. I'm gonna hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, go
No,
ahead.
it's all good. So one of the problems that I have a strong issue. Both race and ethnicity were two harms that were specifically done to Negro American people historically. And when I see them chipping away at race, when other groups have benefited off of race-based policies, such as the AAPI community, such as the small hat community, such as the Latino community, these are a lot of these policies in which they were pushed through were race-based. But when it comes to us, they say that we can't acknowledge our race. I have a strong issue with that. When these other groups have benefit off of such policies, is that also a violation within itself as well?
Interesting. Well, what I would say, well, you have a twofold situation going on here, because at the time period when they were talking about race and they were benefiting, you didn't have Edward Blum at that time that removed colorism. And when he removed colorism, it removed our protection to move under specific rights that were geared for blacks, that were geared for African Americans. He began to say that colorism and their choices to actually deny you going into the stores, deny you getting on a plane and stuff like that, that's no longer, that's their right now. So he found a way to reintroduce segregation without bringing back the laws. I forgot the law. I think it was something education board or somebody, I forgot what it was. It was two cases that he actually was
Border
able.
ed. You talking about the border ed? You talking about the admissions
Brown, I think it was
when he was
Brown or
attacked?
something.
Brown versus border education.
The Brown versus Board of Education is one of them. And then I think it's another case called Plassey or somebody, I forgot what it was. But he was able
Yeah,
to
Plessy
remove.
versus Ferguson. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. Exactly. Do you remember the thrust of that case since you brought it up?
I believe it was something. It had something to do with allowing the adequate faculties, right, for Black people to be able to get the same learning opportunities Something along that line. I'd have to go look it up really quick.
Right. It was based
Okay.
on, you're right, but it was based on the opportunity. So black people, Negroes have always been trying to preserve the whole fight of our generation before your generation was to preserve the things that we have fought for you all. So now what they have been able to do is remove those barriers by affirmative action that made sure when they started to hire, it was supposed to include you all. When they built, well, they just set people in our schools, but those schools that they set in was built by us. So we wanted to make sure that they kept you all in mind before they started just putting international this and this, that, and the other, that you all were included in the preserve opportunities that our blood have paid the cost for you all to be sitting in those schools. So now Edward Blum had brought in the colorism law that says if you specifically dealing with anything related to race, specifically blacks, that it is going to be a lawsuit against that person who have issued anything based on race is now a contradiction to these laws that you're seeing right now in this letter, which is now a contradictory to Title 14, I think it is, and then I think it's the Constitution of the 14th Amendment, and I think they put one more else in there as well. Now it's a contradictory, so they kind of, it's a really slick, underhanded move where you have to have a skilled eye to see the deception, where the law will turn real quick to show that what the opportunities that you are entitled to, that it violates these new laws that said it cannot be based on race. However, the loophole is with the Negroes to you all is actually harm. See, the harm that is being done specifically through our group, another group can't get in, and I don't care how they try. They cannot get in it because they didn't exist at the time period that the harm began. So they wasn't even on the records. We're found on the records. But however, the generation, your generation now today is still, it's an ongoing harm from my generation to your generation. It's ongoing. That's what makes it comes more under the human rights versus them trying to actually just put reparation in for federal claims. That's not going to get it. They're gonna use all kinds of diversion in order to assure that we don't get anything.
Yeah, thank you, Sister Kim, for that. Because that was the reason why I was informing them about, like, one, this woman is an Indian woman who wrote this, and I explained to him that specifically from the Indian people from the AAPI community, they have been expressing hostility towards our community. And when I started listing off certain candidates and certain people who are running for office, now you got somebody from the DOJ who's targeting our community. I'm trying to explain to him that these individuals are not in our favor. What I just knowing that she was Indian, I knew she was a problem.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of see where I'm coming from, and because of the things I know that we've discussed off this app in regards to those talking points. That was the reason why I already knew it was a red flag, because it was coming from them. It wasn't coming from us per se. So that was the reason why I was trying to tell them that this was not a good thing for us. This was something that was going to be more damaging and more harmful to our community, unfortunately.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Anytime you start getting the Department of Justice involved in a city or state or government process, they're warning them that they're overseeing their issuing of any order or any payouts that specifically has anything to do with race. So yeah, most definitely, definitely this is a problem.
What is it that we can do?
So what you could do is, one, you can actually require this particular person to clarify her mindset of what she's saying, because you feel that this is bias. The letter in itself is biased or is prejudiced towards the harm that caused to people that, here's your key, the people who were under Emancipation Proclamation. The Indians have nothing to do with that. White and black and mixed people don't have anything to do with that Emancipation Proclamation. It has nothing to do with them. there's a group of people that was identified as slaves, and those slaves were Negroes, and then the Negro had children, and our descendants that they're trying to get the money to is foundational Black Americans. That's what you all call yourself versus remaining as Negroes. You all call yourself foundational Black American. Is as long as someone like myself who claims you as a Negro, who then claim you as my descendant, now they got problems, because Negroes, you can't shake nothing. You just nothing you could do about it, because that's my ethnicity. It's not my race. It's not my color. It's my ethnicity. It's in my blood. I'm full-blooded Negro, and I have children that were born in 83 and in 86. That's somewhere probably off at least one or two of you all's age group that makes you all my descendants, if I understand that correctly. I don't know if anyone is born in the 60s that's on here. It looked like no one else, so probably I'm the only one on here that's
Yeah,
60.
most
No,
of I think some of
Yeah,
us
I'm
is
an 80s
86.
baby.
I'm gonna bring you
Sister
right
Kim.
back up.
Who's an 80 baby?
Lady Dolphina and Sister BX. I can go down if somebody else needs to come back or to
I
space
just
on the panel.
no, I want you because you be at California reparations meeting. I do want Keisha to double black talk. I'll allow her to tell me to call her Keisha to chime in, because she did mention the Freeman in the comment section, and I have sat in on her a few of her YouTube lives. So
Yeah, here's the thing. I used to be in California, and at the time, I don't live in California no more, but I used to live in California most all my life. I seen the reparation task force going in a negative direction, and more in a distorted direction. And I also warned the task force not to do what it is that they're doing, and that's the reason why you all didn't get no payout. But I have every intentions to call them back on the carpet for what they've done, since now you all are just basically scrambling and trying to figure out how you all can actually get the funds that you all was entitled to get a long time ago. So, but yeah, now going forward, as far as the Freeman is concerned, I think that they themselves too have to be careful in deception and distorting information. Now, the Freeman Brewer will definitely took place after the Negro cavalry had actually fought in a lot of wars. And then President Grant had decided they did such an honorable job. They brought in the HR or 40 acres and a mule. Freeman Bureau was then in place to already to make sure, one, that when the Negroes came out of the armies, that they were not going back into slavery, that they covered them as free men. And so they put them in a place where they were housed. They made sure that, they were able to build, start a community, and do different things. So the Freeman Bureau was no more but then a government agency that watched out off of free Negroes. It was not to become a where it is today, where you're trying to say that freeman is a origin of people, that all of a sudden you just started birthing out people that's called freeman. Well, where's the origin of freeman? Where did they originate from? What land? How, come on now. So that's the problem with freeman. I know there are Negroes who are coming through, the protection of, slaves, that goes from slave that's in servitude to free slave. I know they work to help make sure they stay free. They get jobs and stuff like that. But to start calling people blood freemen, there's no such things. And I got my eye out on them. They haven't really, offended me too much. They haven't really, got my attention that, I feel like, that it's warranting me to pull them in court. It's just right now, they just kind of off a little bit, but they still my folks. So I haven't been offended by anything that they're doing at this point.
What about them using it as a legal status? Because this is some of the arguments that they have been making on various different social media platforms, saying that it's a legal status that it even supersedes Negro. And that's kind of some of my tension with a lot of the groups that promote this, I would say, nonsense. But I don't want to get off too extreme with it and provocative with it, but it's very annoying that they're saying that this term predates the people who actually were hung and all these other crazy things that happened to them.
Now that part right there may be a little distorted, because I know Freeman didn't really get into the play until 1886. Emancipation Proclamation took place in 1883. So if you can do your math, you already can already tell that there's a problem with the legal status. If we were already emancipated in 1883 and you didn't start the bureau until 1886, you already got a problem. So like I said, whoever's overseeing Freeman, that bureau and their approach and trying to actually just kind of gaffle people and, influence people to start thinking that they have some kind of superiority over Negroes and stuff like that. Only thing I could say is, I hope someone can actually, advise them to be a little bit more wiser in what their approach. That's the only thing I could say at this point.
I don't know. I disagree with that timeline because, as a matter of fact, the term freedman was used in 1860s legislation. As a matter of fact, the Freedmen Bureau the budget was moved under the military spending by Abraham Lincoln. So it wasn't, it didn't, I got to disagree with you on that timeline when you say it was only in the 1880s. That's not what
Well, the
my
thing,
research has
I,
ever
I
shown.
got to push
I
back on
just,
you.
I just want
I got to
to
push back on you on that, sir. Wait, no, because you can't just rush three or four
hold on,
statements.
wait. First of all, I
No,
wasn't
I
talking
think it
to
was a
you. First of all,
misspeaking.
I
I think
wasn't
she
talking
said
to you.
1880s, but she meant 1860s because the years actually lined up. I
Thank
could
you.
be wrong though.
Delineationist, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the sister that said in the 1880s was when Freeman was first used, and that's not true. It was used in legislation in the 1860s. And she actually did purposely state that because she said, well, if you notice, there's a difference in the time of 20 years, and she really pointed that out. So it wasn't a slip of the tongue. She
No,
literally said it was in the 1880s. So
yeah,
I just want so that's not true though.
yeah,
That's
no, it
factually
may,
inaccurate.
yeah, you may have your time when you start talking about the first time Freeman was mentioned. I know I never seen it or read it, but that could be your truth, and I'm not going to argue about your truth. I was talking about the Emancipation Proclamation. So I was talking about the day we were actually considered free. We were considered as free slaves, and then when the Freeman Bureau began to handle the HR 40 was after we were emancipated, and they still started to say that they were at that time we were still trying to be free under the Freeman Bureau. I was saying those two time periods didn't match it, but I understand what you're saying when it's first mentioned. But I want you to try to recall the depth of my Emancipation Proclamation. We didn't need Freeman. And matter of fact, you could look up in Congress. Congress had then actually dismantled the Freeman Bureau because there was no more need for the Freeman Bureau because of the Emancipation Proclamation. Everyone that was Negroes that were now they were freed, so it was no longer no need for the Freeman Bureau. But if if you guys want to resurrect the Freeman,
That's factually not true
you can
because the
look it up
Freedmen's
yourself, sir.
Bureau.
You can
I'm
look it up
looking at it on
yourself
my
about
computer. Wait,
Congress.
wait, wait.
Congress
Hold on.
dismantled Freeman Bureau. Just
It
look
don't
that
mean
up. Just look
it don't
that
take
up,
me.
and then you will see what I'm saying. Just look that up. I know it's
Say less. Say less. It
yeah,
don't take me
yeah.
long. I'm
Just
right
look
here on
that
my
up.
laptop
Just
right
look that
now.
up. That
Say
Congress
less. Say
dismantled.
less.
Just
You see my camera? I don't know if you
yeah,
can see
yeah.
it.
Just look that up. That Congress
You see my
dismantled.
camera's already on, so you keep telling me to look something up when it's apparent that I've already looked it up.
I
Because
wanted
my
this to be a
camera's on.
friendly panel, y'all. I
Yeah,
thought it was
no,
gonna be
I
a
I'm
friendly
just saying,
understand.
panel.
like all this yellow telling me to
So
look
what
something up
wait,
when I've
wait,
already
Dred,
looked
I
it up.
got it.
You
So is
can see
this
that I've looked it
a
up.
discrepancy is in the dates?
No, the discrepancy is I'm
It's
saying
misinformation. It's hella
no,
misinformation.
no, no. Okay, I don't know what
That's
he's.
what you're doing. You're doing misinformation.
Okay, no, I'm not doing any misinformation. That's why I'm
That's
asking you
exactly
to
what you're
look it.
doing.
I'm asking you to look it up because obviously you may be a Freeman person, so you got a strong
No,
position on
no,
this.
no,
But
no.
what I'm trying to get you to
I'm just
see,
I'm
what I'm trying
Okay,
to
anti-emancipation
wait.
get you,
because
We
it
what
sounds like you're trying to
what
push
I'm
some sort of
trying to get
rhetoric.
you to
No,
look
you're
up.
trying to push some sort of rhetoric because of your own personal bias.
I
Because
ain't got no personal
you
bias,
me
sir.
either.
said
I ain't got
Well,
that
no
Freeman
personal
wasn't
bias.
used
I'm a
Dred,
until
Negro.
I got it.
the
I'm a
1880s
Okay.
Negro, so
Bureau
I
got
don't have no
appointed to
personal
1885.
bias. If I
That's
had a
not true.
personal bias, I would be
Ray, hold
coming
on.
for the Freeman. But I'm
I
not
got
coming
it.
from them
I'm
because
gonna
I
look up the dates. I'm
yeah,
gonna look up the
look
dates.
at the
Well, the thing
dates.
What
is,
are we?
wait, can I? BX, can I chime in on something? The thing is that the Freedmen's is underneath the Indian DAS rules, and they're underneath the Indian Bureau of Affairs. In the
Okay.
discussion, Special Field Order 15 is specifically said Negro. That's the
Yeah.
delineation right there.
Right.
And if anybody tries to mess with that, that is a part of them treading on our justice claim.
So,
That's how some of us is viewing it, BX. So yeah, you could point to freedmen, but the thing is, they're underneath the Indian Bureau of Indian Affairs. They have nothing to deal with Negroes.
I
At
think
the
that
end of
this
the
is
day,
a communication thing. I think Miss Kim said 1883, 1885. And I know that it's 1863 and 1865. Sometimes, she just said the
No,
80 instead of the 60. I
no.
think that was
Yeah,
just an
That
exactly.
is
oversight.
not
That's
what
what
she
it
said.
was.
And she
look,
purposely
look.
stated there was a 20-year
When
I
gap.
don't
was
think
the
it was
She
when was
said if
purpose.
you
when
notice
was the year of
1880s
the
to
Emancipation
compared to
Proclamation?
1860s,
What
there's a
what was
20-year
the
gap
year of
somewhere
the
in there.
Emancipation
And she pointed out
Proclamation?
that 20-year gap. So
Lady,
no, it
1863.
lady,
wasn't misspeaking. It's
lady, what was the
It,
misinformation.
year of the Emancipation
it was
Proclamation? Because
it
he
was
keeps
eight.
going over the Emancipation Proclamation is what I entered the conversation in. What year was that? Because
Right. It was
I compared the Emancipation to the Freeman Bureau. Those two time period was a little
right.
bit off. What year was that? Was that
The, it
1883
was
or
it,
1863?
it was 1863 for
Thank
the
you.
Emancipation Proclamation,
Yes,
and then
yes.
And
in 65 the Bureau was signed. So that's the
exactly.
80.
But
Yeah.
she keeps saying it
So
was in
And
the
then
so
in
only
1880s when
85
the
it
only
was just
Bureau
a
was.
only
slip of the
thing
She
tongue.
that
she keeps saying that it was in the 1880s, and that's
if
not
the
true.
No, it was just
Oh,
it's a communication thing.
It's not. It's
yeah.
not
Nikki.
a communication
yeah,
thing. It's
so
misinformation,
Okay.
and it's bias
if
against
he
people who
wants
use
me
the term
to
freedmen.
listen, I
It's
will
anti-free.
correct.
It's
Listen,
anti-freedman
listen.
bias.
I will correct
Wait,
the
wait,
fact
wait.
that I said the difference. There's a difference. Let me apologize for me saying 83 versus 63 and me saying the
Cap.
emancipation place was 63 and 8 when the Freeman Bureau was
That's a
established was
disingenuous apology because you did it on
1865.
purpose.
So that was just a slip. It was like a slip of the
No, it
tongue. I
wasn't.
was just
No, it
saying
Okay,
wasn't.
wait,
because
wait,
I
wait.
got a lot
No,
of
it
dates
wasn't.
in
Dread.
my.
Yes.
I
oh,
got
I
a
hope
lot
you
of
Let
have
me
all
ask
dates.
a
this smoke for
question.
the
I
Let me ask a
got a lot
WSs,
of
question.
brother.
dates in my
I
mind.
hope you have all this smoke for the WSs,
I
homie.
got a lot of dates in my head about a lot of stuff. So I may have just
Right.
kind of mixed the dates up a little bit. But you guys can look it up and confirm whether or not, the dates is, accurate or before or after. My point being is that there's a specific time that Negroes were enslaved until 1863. After 1863, that's when the Freeman Bureau stepped in and made sure that even though Negroes were supposed to be free, they was not letting us be free. And even though we were running to be free, they still was capturing us and putting us back into slavery. So the Freeman Bureau back then was trying to make sure we stayed free. That's the only thing I'm trying to say. So all this animosity that this young man have on on this platform about the status and the changes and the dates and stuff, it's not really necessary. I think it really takes away from the bigger conversation that's going on on this platform.
Well, I think it corrects the record on this bigger
Okay.
conversation because you've been spreading misinformation. You said that
Kudos to
Indians
you.
are not.
Kudos
Hold
to
on.
you.
I
Kudos
sat
to
there while
you.
you said what you said.
Yeah, but
You
you're
said
trying
that
to
the
gut
Indians
punch me
were
at
not
the same
enslaved. You
time
called the
talking
Indians
about
Indonesian.
misinformation.
Hold
Okay,
on.
wait,
We
wait,
can't
wait.
both
Ain't
Let me
talk
ask
at the
a
Hey,
same
hey,
question.
time.
Brody.
I think
Misinformation.
I
Hey,
know
hey,
what
Ain't nobody
Dred.
yo, just for the record,
misinformation.
that's an elder
Yeah.
kingpin. Slow your
Yeah.
roll.
Ain't
That's an
Okay,
nobody
elder,
no
homie. Like,
misinformation.
really pump your brakes.
Yeah.
Like,
one
this is
minute.
somebody
One
grandma
minute.
here, homie.
Dred,
Yeah.
were you
Like, he need to
upset
really
that
check
she
his
said the
tone.
word pretendian?
Yeah. He
Yeah,
offended
I
because
don't
I
like that
said that.
word pretending. Although we're gonna start there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you
Using the
Yeah.
are
word
He just
freaking
offended
pretending,
because I
pretending.
Molly.
said that.
We can
No,
stop
you
all
are
that. And
freaking
you see,
pretending
Yeah.
every
if you ask me.
He's
every time I
offended for
open my
that.
mouth, 5 different people come off
Yeah.
their microphone and start talking over me.
Okay,
He,
one
And that's
minute,
where
because
the problem is,
I
and that's
wanted
why
Because
I'm
you
I
raising
ain't
my
shit,
voice.
yeah.
brother.
Mr.
Because
Yeah.
Vessel,
I'm showing
back
respect, and
down.
I'm not
Guys,
talking over
everybody
nobody.
on mute.
So
I don't
so
want
so
to
when I
scream.
talk,
Dred,
I expect the same respect in return.
Dred.
Yeah.
Right. So I didn't take it as she meant the copper colored Indians. That's what you
Okay.
got
Okay.
triggered by.
Greg,
Okay.
that's
Well,
also what I got from it too. I think she was talking about like the Hispanics and the Asians who actually are really pretendians. You get what I'm saying? That's what I thought she meant, but I do understand how that term used against like copper colored melanated people who do have Indian ancestors is disrespectful. I don't think that that's the context she meant it in. I think she
Okay.
talked about that for
Okay. Well,
Asians.
well,
He
well,
I
did.
have a
well,
question
well,
too.
if you're talking about people who are, from a whole completely different race who just got here and they're pretending to be, our people, then okay, I got you. I apologize if I misunderstood that point, but you were calling them Indonesians and saying that they received their reparations, but that's not true. 100% true, because there are people who were Indians who were enslaved on the same plantations as our ancestors, who did intermix with our ancestors, who ended up their descendants are now black people, so-called black people, in America.
Because they were
That's
reclassified with
misinformation
us,
when you say
correct?
that these people they all didn't get their reparations. They all didn't get, because some of them were reclassified. Walter
He's
Plecker
talking
in
about
Virginia.
those who
If
are
you look at, if you
reclassified
look
as
at,
Negro. What is wrong? What
see,
is
I
this
wasn't
discussion
talking over
about? No, no,
nobody, and
no.
this is
I'm
my
trying to figure out
problem,
if she
and
was
this is
talking
why I get
about those who are
upset when I be on these
reclassified as
panels, because I
Negro,
don't
and you're
disrespect
Wait,
nobody,
saying
wait,
but it
that
wait,
they
wait.
were
always
some that
happens
were
to me,
reclassified
and
as
that's the
Negro. What is the
problem, and
reason for
that's
the
the problem. You
contention?
see,
No,
I
what is the
wasn't
reason
talking
for
over
the
nobody. I
contentions?
can't hear nothing
Yes,
you
you
saying
did,
because you're
because
talking at the
you
same time
actually were
I'm
very
talking, and
disrespectful
that's
to
a
that
problem.
woman. No,
And
you were
that's a problem.
Okay,
disrespectful to
so
that
wait,
woman.
Dre,
That's a
And
wait,
what
wait,
I'm
problem.
because
trying to
You
figure
talk
okay,
out
about
so
is if
when
she
disrespect.
right,
already
I got
I
acknowledges
it,
that
can't
I
people
even
were
get.
got
I
it.
can't even finish my
So
reclassified.
when she
thought.
said Negro, hold on. When she said Negro, right? We already know we were reclassified. So I didn't take it that she was saying indigenous, right? When she said Indonesian, or those who think they're Indian or Indonesian, what are Indonesians? Aren't they Asian? And don't you
No,
think the natives
Yes.
are Asian?
but here's the native Indonesians. If the native Indonesians look like us, they look just like us. Afros, lips, nose, everything.
What
They
else?
look just like
They're
us.
over
For
in
I don't know
everybody
who
in
Indonesia,
you're
our
and if
talking
they come
about when
here,
you're
they're
reparations.
classified
misspeaking
as
and calling
This
them
Asian.
dude want to
Indonesians.
all lives matter reparations, guys. Like, what
Yeah,
the
I
heck
guess
this guy
What?
everybody in
talking
India
about?
now. That's what it's sounding like.
You know why it sounds like that? Because you keep cutting me off and I can't land my plane. That's
No,
why it
that's what
sounds
you're
like
Okay.
that.
saying.
Because you don't have the patience to listen.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you're
Go
right.
ahead.
I can't listen to
You
nincompoop
like the
nonsense. It's
vocabulary to get right
nonsense.
to the point. You
Hold on,
like
hold
the
on, hold on.
vocabulary to get right to the point and be
Man, if
direct
you
about
don't,
your
you
Okay,
know
okay.
what,
conversation.
I don't want
And
BX,
you
I
I'm,
want
don't
to
I'm
want
go
y'all
not
around
trying to,
and
I'm not trying to
arguing.
cuss
I
bush.
don't
nobody out
want
on your
y'all
panel. I'm not trying
arguing.
to
Hold
cuss
on.
It
nobody
was
out
a
on your
She
panel.
just want a
miscommunication.
peaceful
Remember,
panel, y'all.
y'all.
Delineationist,
Hey, she
It was
like a peaceful
delineationist,
panel,
man.
please.
Calm down, bro, man. Just calm down, man.
it
Just
was a
calm down.
Brother, you
And
came out
calling
here
me a nincompoop
disrespecting
and
the
all
old,
that
you
and all the
disrespecting the old
nonsense,
timer right in
that's
front of me.
unnecessary.
Like,
Cause
what's
I
your
ain't call
the
problem?
nobody out
elder
their name.
Dre.
You
No,
know what I'm
it's
saying?
Okay,
unnecessary
so
that
I
you're
ain't called
grilling a
nobody out their
65
name,
plus
but
year old.
BX
But
knows, she
DH,
No,
knows,
but
DH,
you're
BX knows that
grilling
DH,
somebody
I
old
can't
enough
call
to be
people out their
my
delineation.
names.
grandparents, homie.
And this is me being nice, bruh. This is me being nice, bruh. I can get real mean, bruh. So chill out, man. Leave me
Why? We
alone,
we
man. Let me
not trying to
finish saying
fight
what I
you.
was saying. Cause I
No,
could
you
really get
guys
with you,
are.
man. I could
We
really
on
get with you, man.
solutions.
I
We
could
on
really get with you, man. So
solutions.
so just calm down. Let me finish
DH,
what
but
I'm
this is not.
saying.
She don't want
And
that
that's
on
the
this
whole point.
panel.
The point is, I apologize if you're talking about people who aren't our people. I apologize if you're talking about that. But if you're talking about people who are our people, who are now claiming American Indian, those people descend from people who were enslaved on the same plantations as our people. If people are on this app and they're calling themselves American Indian, most of them, because some of them are Haitians and Jamaicans, they ain't American Indians. I'm talking about our actual people who we go to a family reunion, who eat the same food as us, who looking in our face and share our same blood and DNA. Those are our people. You know what I'm saying? The people who are in the American Indian movement here in America, they're from our people. Those are our people. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay,
I
so
don't
here's
want
that.
to other
Let me
them.
just say this.
That's the
Let me
problem.
just say
Does he
this.
have a tribal card or not? Does he have a tribal card or not? Like,
Hold on.
let's get to
Oh,
the point.
Hold
Do you
on,
have a tribal
no,
card,
delineation.
sir?
Hold
no, he
on.
don't. No, he don't.
Then why the heck
Bro,
is he
y'all
You
Okay,
bringing
see,
so
this
need
up?
here's
and,
the
and,
This
and
is
that's
this
why
issue.
I
is
Here's
called
the
out the
irrelevant.
issue.
pretendian word. You see,
Wait,
you see
wait.
who you see
I'm
what the
gonna just
reaction
end
is,
this like
BX.
this.
It's
That's why I
Dre.
actually
called out that
pretending
pretendian
Negro
word.
win. It's actually
Okay, so
pretending Negro win, and I
what?
wrote about
Wait,
it,
wait,
brother.
wait.
I'm
I
like the
got
author
this.
when it comes to delineation
Who
over
put
here.
us on Showtime? So I guess it's for me to talk, huh? So listen. There's not people have to prove who they are, right? They have to prove their descendancy. They got to prove it to a certain date. But there's more requirements than that. We don't go around just telling everything to everybody. So if you are not a Negro, if you are not black, if you do not descend from U.S. chattel slavery, I don't know what to tell you. So I'm gonna keep it to myself. When I say it sounds like you got a separate claim, that's what I mean. Because ain't no reparations hearing talking about an Indian. Now, when you sat in the reparations meetings with me, Dred, has anybody said Indian?
Never.
Right. That's why it's a separate claim if they not meeting the requirements.
Facts. I
But
agree.
listen,
I agree, but
so that's what
I
she's
don't.
saying.
No,
Oh my
no, but I
God.
don't agree with that pretendian word.
Okay.
We not gonna do that. We not gonna call our people pretendians. That's not
Okay.
what we gonna do. I don't agree with that. Don't call our people pretendians because they're not. And I think that's real weak to call our people pretendians. And it's like you sound just like the Africans calling our people pretendians. You might as well go ahead and get you some fufu and some igusi and call it
All
a
right,
day and
Dred. All
call
right. She's
yourself a
still an
damn
elder.
African. You
She's
calling
still
our
an
people
elder.
pretendians.
Okay. So for the sake of the room, for the sake, I wanted to have a nice conversation. We don't use pretendian on the platform. Miss Kim is an elder, and I should have shut it down before it got to all of this. So for that, I apologize. Okay. Oh, okay. I guess it's Miss Kim's turn. But
So,
yeah.
so let me say this: as far as DH apology, I accept. Second of all, when I said pretendians, I was globalizing the interference of other groups and nationality participating in the reparations that has now caused a kerfuffle. Now, when I acknowledge that even now, when I started to talk about Native Americans who are now recently claiming to be Black, I said now they are also a part of getting involved and getting reparation from or some kind of claim they currently just got up. I thought it was in Oklahoma because they too have used Black. The bigger conversation and what I'm trying to get the room to realize is the changes of names and race and origin is what's causing the problem. And the Negroes and my descendants specifically, I'm a full-blooded Negro. I don't have no Cherokee. I don't have no Waka. I don't have any of that in my bloodline. Now, my people from Texas to Virginia to North Carolina are people who suffered under the Emancipation Proclamation, chained, whipped, burnt in the fields, the whole 9 yards. We got the business, okay? So now I am saying for my people that are not from any tribe, this is what the reparation is about for 2020 to right now to this time period is about Negro reparation and their descendant. It has nothing to do with you liking my food, you looking like me talking like you, me dressing like you, or nothing. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with my ethnicity that was lynched, burned, raped, and everything else. It has everything to do with my ethnicity. And
This is bananas. So one thing about communication is listening, the listening component. And I think this whole bit of contention could have been avoided if if somebody said 83 and 85, and you already know that the years are 63 and 65, you all will know that it was a slip of the tongue. The difference between misinformation and like an honest error is the intent behind it. And so if somebody is using the same uh, ending value, you can understand that it's a slip of the tongue. There are a lot of people who are LARPing as things that they are not and participating in their own ethnocide or genocide via ethnocide. A lot of people are claiming stuff and they don't have the paperwork. So whatever you find on your paperwork, go and be that. And if there is a conversation specifically about Negroes and you do not identify as a Negro, well, then that ain't a conversation about you. That's all. I don't know how to end this thing, but you can take me off spotlight or spot time, whatever this
Go ahead,
is.
Jimothy, because I did not. Yeah, I don't know how to work it. I think you just press end, Jimothy.
I don't even know how to where
Okay,
to
wait,
find
hold on.
end.
I don't do show times. Let me see. Did it change?
My,
Okay, it changed.
my bad, y'all.
Okay, so
And
can
I,
we have some
I
new
I
just
had
want
to
to,
energy
yeah, I
in
just
the
distract.
want to say
room?
one thing that
I had to
this is
distract.
educational. Like I'm learning a lot today, and we're able to learn a lot because we're able to communicate and listen to each other.
Mhm.
So BX got a great panel here. Let us keep it like that, and let's leave the chaos for the other panels. But I
Yeah,
actually enjoy this.
right. And my bad, BX. I just wanted to kind of, I think it's important
Yeah,
to
well, it did.
understand. What you said, BX?
I was gonna say, well, it did kind of bring everything down, so we wasn't screaming at each other.
Yeah, I had to hit that button, BX. I had to hit that button. But listen, I think it's important to understand too, right, that a lot of our brothers and sisters across every different state, we kind of have different cultures across every different state, right? What we all can agree on is that we all cousins and we all family. But you are gonna run into people who do have a fully Indian grandma or grandpa, right? That doesn't make them not Negro, right? Because I don't know if you guys remember under a lot of these different for example, like the Gullah Wars and stuff, right? Or the Seminole Wars, even in Florida, right? You got people like Andrew Jackson saying that, hey, listen, these not Indians that we fighting; these are Negroes. You get what I'm saying? So I think what both parties are saying is very important to kind of come to a middle ground, right? We don't want to be LARPing and cosplaying or whatever, right? But then again, also too, we don't want to be calling people who do have a fully full-blooded Cherokee grandma or whatever. We don't want to be calling them pretendians because that's kind of disrespectful. That don't mean she's not a Negro, or that doesn't mean she's not black. You know what I'm saying? It's just different cultural differences that kind of span across different states, right? None of us in here, I don't think, is Louisiana Creole, right? Them people got a totally different culture from any of us in here. Them still are people though.
Yeah, so I agree with you as far as me being a universal person, loving all God's people in general. However, I think that we crossed the line when, like the sister lady was saying, if a conversation is about Negro and HR 40 is about Negroes and about their descendants. Now, this is a time period where people should show some kind of moral aptitude and realize that this has nothing to do with them, and bow out gracefully. And then that's when we can respect people are not trying to climb up another way, or they're not trying to, rob somebody else of something because it's a bag on the table. And now they're trying to, interject themselves into this, to the mix. Cause I don't remember a lot of people coming to seeing about my folks when they were picking cotton and going through a lot of things. I don't remember any heroes for my folks. I just don't. I don't remember no other nationality, Spain or Spaniards or whatever you call them. I don't remember nobody throwing nothing on our way to make our struggles easier. Not one. I don't remember one. I don't care. I don't care if they're Cherokees, whatever you call them. I don't remember them sounding off to make a difference in our fight. I don't remember that. And we have had 500 years of problems, and I don't remember nobody stepping out, taking no from any other group, taking no bullets for us. I don't see it. I don't remember none of them using their powers or their authority to cover us, protect us against the white tea people. I ain't got no history nowhere along the lines to salute them or recognize them as honorable. So anyway, but
Well,
what it is.
I'll even double down that they're not even honorable. They owned my people. At the end of the day, last time I checked it, they were slave catchers and slave owners. Anybody that's a slave owner, I don't care if you're a white tea person, a melanated skin person, whatever person color you are a slave owner and a slave master. So I don't rock with that. See, I'm from that old school way of thought. If you owned people, we're not in the same bloodline, let alone the same mindset. We're not the same people. And to force that on another demographic, I think that that's a form of identity theft, cultural theft, right? And then they're going to go off and say, well, I was reclassified as a Negro. Well, this day and age, you could just say and check off the block that you're not a Negro. You can self-identify however you choose. So you going around with that same quote-unquote injury of Negro, it ain't yours. You can get up off of it. That's the type of time I'm really want to really get on, because a lot of people out here faking the funk. And they're doing it underneath Freedmen, they're doing it underneath Black and everything else. Like either you are a Negro and the descendants of that, or you are not. That's delineation. I don't know what all this Freedmen stuff and all this Black American stuff. It's either you're a Negro or you're not a Negro. It's really cut and dry to me. Because when you look at special field, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
It's
And
not. I mean,
I let you rock too. I let you rock. I didn't interrupt you.
Somebody
You wasn't really saying anything important anyways.
Somebody had to mute
Brother,
you.
you wasn't saying, because you were being disrespectful to an elder.
I didn't disrespect nobody.
Elder
I
from
didn't
my
insult
blood.
anybody. I didn't
Man,
call
listen here,
anybody
you
out of their
tar and
names.
feather
or nothing.
weirdo. Like this Indian weirdo.
Nobody
man.
called me out.
Listen,
I didn't call
Man,
nobody out
no,
their
you're a
names. I
pretending.
got called out of my name.
You're what I would call is a pretending Negro win. And I wrote it in my book too.
Okay.
You're one of those pretending Negroes out here saying that you are and you ain't.
Okay.
And I'm
I don't know
tired
what
of
you're
it.
talking
I don't
about.
want. I don't
have no
want.
idea what this group
I
is
don't
talking
want.
about.
So back to what I was saying about these pretending Negro wins. You got people out here trying to get the Native American justice claim underneath Negro when they're not Negro, which is a false claim underneath the Constitution right. That's my problem with y'all weirdos. If you're a Native American, that means you classify underneath the Indian Bureau of Affairs. And that's what Freedmen is. Instead of you guys keep running up the skirt of Negro and trying to take what's not yours. That's what y'all always been doing on this app. And then you try to bully other people who stand on Negro and Black American. And y'all been doing this on this app for a long time. And then you'll go even one step further where you even spread xenophobia to a certain extent. And what I mean by this is initiating other battles underneath the Negro flag. See, that's a Negro flag, not no damn Freedman flag. It's a Negro Nation flag. That's from our ancestors, not from no Indian Bureau. So yeah, I get offended when I see this nonsense every single time I see on y'all on the app, y'all causing conflicts and all this other things and not getting our repair underneath the Negro Nation flag, not no Freedman fake flag. If you are a Freedman, then you plant your own flag, not our flag. That's the problem. Get your own shit. That's what God honest truth, and I'm tired of it. This is gatekeeping over here, and this is why I don't like some of y'all pretending Negro wins. And yeah, you heard it from me. Yeah, I defined it, and yeah, you could look on the Negro Black Knights Heritage Club page, and you can see it for your own damn self if you really don't like it. So yeah, I'm tired of y'all little Native American people who are afraid to go after the $5 Indians and get your repair because you're a coward then and you're a coward now. That's why y'all guys got colonized. Because you got out here selling your own people out. And y'all think y'all can sell out Negroes to get our repair. Man, shame on y'all. Shame on y'all.
That dude was just ranting. I don't even know what's wrong with him. And first of all, man, I don't know if you need to drink some hot tea or something like that, man. What's wrong with you? Why do you sound like you have something in your, like you need to clear your voice, man. But I never said any of that stuff he's talking about. He's kind of like arguing. You can tell that he has some sort of, resentment towards the American Indian movement. I don't identify as American Indian. I'm a foundational Black American. However, I understand that those are my people. You know what I'm saying? So there's a difference. And so he's angry and he's yelling and calling people names and all of that. Just drink some hot tea and relax, brother. Calm down. Calm your butt down. All I did was call. First of all, I never would have had to raise my voice if people weren't completely talking over me. That's the only reason I raised my voice. I didn't insult anybody. I didn't call nobody out their name. No ad hominem attacks. But I was attacked because people didn't take the time to listen to me, and that's the problem. When you look at the word listen and the word silent, they have the exact same letters. If you're gonna listen, you got to be silent. You know what I'm saying? But that's the problem. Nobody was willing to listen and hear me out. So all I was saying was that it was some information that was not quite accurate, and I wanted to correct that record. You know what I mean? And that's all I was saying. Brother, calm down. We're on TikTok. I'm not American Indian. So if you got a beef with the American Indians, get your butt out of here and go find some American Indians to go yell at. Stop yelling at me. You know what I'm saying? I just know that a lot of them are still our people. Now, there are some that are part of that movement that are from the Caribbean, and they are the ones that are trying to move in on our reparations claim. They need to get the hell on. All right.
Okay. So I think that we have resolved the miscommunication. I think I apologize. I think DH done apologize for the slip of the tongues. I think Lady had addressed it most eloquently as far as understanding the whole entire perspective, the legal perspective of where the reparation is claimed is going. And now with the Department of Justice getting involved with Brother Roland actually bringing out that the person who signed this bill and is putting this in, or this is an order now that she's putting in place, comes from an Indian perspective. And the undertone it is just to create other hurdles that makes it just that much impossible for the Negroes, foundational Black Americans, in order to receive any kind of remedy, relief, or recovery because of these language that's in there, and everyone is not skilled in the industry of law. So I was just only on here to just, I read it and I've seen a lot of twists and turns in it. I did identify her last name. I didn't know she was actually an Indian until Brother Roland told me, but I can tell you that this particular order is making sure that if anyone gets any money, it cannot be based, even Negroes and the foundational Black Americans cannot get this based on race. So if you can't get it based on race, you only can get it based on a related harm. And then that means that you're going to have to go back to the drawing board to begin to figure out where did that harm start from, and then how did that harm affect my generation, which is foundational Black American, and then what law that's in the Constitution that actually will allow us to still be able, or someone such as myself, to be able to recover the remedy and recovery that we need, because I'm working and making sure that I get.
You can skip me. I'm listening.
Oh, you could go back to her. She wasn't done. I was listening as well. Okay.
Jimothy, are you there? Okay.
Okay, so I think the thrust of this whole platform and the mindset is, what do you do with this letter? This letter needs to be addressed by either letting the Department of Justice know that you want a better explanation as to what they are intending to do, or the city that they wrote this to explain what it is that they can and cannot, what it is that the reparation board can and cannot do. And then clarify, once it's actually clarified what their intents are, and y'all can see clearly that they just put a bunch of hurdles in y'all way, then that's time for you all to either one, I got Belgian mellow walls here. You guys give me a minute. Come on, guys, cut it out. So you can either do two things. You can follow the Negro Black Nation United government, or you can contact Brother Roland under the Heritage Club, where you can qualify under there, where we are actually using your name and your information in order to get recovery and payment, where those individuals are considered our descendants, and they're entitled to the recovery that we get from a legal perspective. So I don't know if anyone have any question, but it was my Sunday. Brother Roland wanted me to look at something. I looked at it. I think you guys are looking at it in the right perspective, but I do want to rest my mind, because I am working on the Office of Budget Administration, removing the confusion about all these race, color crap that's going on right now that got us arguing back and forth. So I would like to rest before I get to that case tomorrow. So I'll let you guys think about if there's anything else y'all want to kind of throw at me or anything.
I have a question. Is there any possible way we could retire African American so that it doesn't go into the hands of the immigrants who feel like, technically, if you think of the word, it would be African American, but they can't have it because we've accomplished so much under that term? Miss Kim. Can you put Miss Kim back? No?
Yeah.
Yes, just so she can answer. That's the one question I have.
Okay, so yeah, so currently with the complaint that I'm working on now, it deals with the reason why they brought Africans into the picture in the first place. It was supposed to be under what they call MENA, which is the Middle Eastern, Northern, and something else district where they consider origin. So I'm currently challenging that because it should have been based on demographic and origin, not based on race, which was black or African American, which was contributed to them being our descendant. So I'm kind of working on breaking it down right now where based on them including what they should include, which is called the Western or the Northern Africans. And that's the category where Africans, Haitian, or whoever else come from that land or that continent should be classified under. Negroes and Black Americans are the descendants of slaves that are naturally born here in the United States of America, and they're classified as a preserved history in this land, and it has absolutely nothing to do with nobody else.
Thank you so much for that, Miss Kim. I hope that you could keep me updated if you don't want to. And I want to apologize. I didn't to everybody. Like I didn't want it to get out of hand. This is our first meeting with each other, so we do have to get to kind of know each other. Um, I'm used. I knew exactly what it was that kind of made Dread upset because we do not like the word pretendian. Just because we know the American Indians running around, some of them are our cousins, and I actually have the same surname of one of my ancestors with one of them. So for whatever that's worth, right? But then I also have the same last town in common with Coach. So we do know that we are connected, but like in Dred, you've heard me say it before. It's a how you call it? It would be a separate claim if they're going to keep identifying as American Indian, because American Indians, from my knowledge, are working with foundational Black Americans, even if they don't feel like they come from Africa or have any descendancy. You know how it goes. But I just want to say thank you for everybody for joining, right? Let me say that first. And I'm sorry that things kind of went left, but now the energy is clear with that. And I love Miss Kim from the first video I saw of her. And Miss Keisha, if she could go after Delphina, just so we could hear her insight, I'd appreciate it. And thank you for answering my question, because we're really, really stressed with the African American term. I love Negro too. I don't mind Negro because my ancestors are identified as Negro. I just don't like the color term. I don't mind Black either. And I love foundational Black American, and I'm going to leave it at that. Go ahead, y'all.
Yeah, for me, like I'm kind of extreme where I've never, caught myself African American, because I remember when that was the news when I was a child, and none of my family ever called themselves African American either. We was just Black. And I'm of this standpoint where, I want all of my monikers. So can't nobody call themselves African American, Black, Negro, Black American, and FBA and all that kind of stuff. They are all for us. So that's my extreme viewpoint. And I also think that only Black Americans are Black, but that's another story for another day. One thing I want to get people's ideas churning about, and I kind of even wanted to hear Kim's input on this too, but I know she got to take a rest, is if there are some ways that we can like race neutral ways that we can get repair, like based on zip codes, streets that we lived on, stuff like that, where we can be like, if you lived in this zip code and you experienced this and that, and you could trace yourself back to that, you can get repaired. Would that withstand?
Good afternoon, everyone. I
Good
just want to say
afternoon.
thank you, sister, and thank you for inviting me up on the platform. I
You're
just want
welcome.
to say that it seems that everyone is going for the same goal. The problem is the language and the law, and the problem is the language and the identity of which our ancestors derived from. And so that's why one of the things that I propose is that you continue to research lineage, because the lineage through genealogy will tell you the terminology that your ancestors identified, or their enslavers, I should say, identified them as. And it was a transposition that went on. Some were identified as colored, some were mulatto, then reclassified as Negro, then reclassified as Black. And so this has always been a problem. And one of the things that I've noticed in going to a lot of these reparations hearings here in the state of New York is that the commission itself is muddying the waters of what that identity is. And that's why groups like the U.S. Freedmen's Project and others in the state are trying to force the commission to change that language. And it would be quite helpful if we had more Black attorneys, Black American attorneys, like Ms. Kim, to step forward and to help us understand procedure and how to litigate our perspectives when we approach these commissions. And so when I give testimony in these committee meetings, I always identified as foundational Black American.
Please give Miss Keisha more time. Jimothy, I want to put Miss Keisha back, Dolphina, and let her finish.
Yeah, I don't know how I got it again.
Because it's a timer. Go ahead, Miss Keisha.
Sorry about that, and
It's okay.
thank you again for allowing me to complete my testimony here. But when we attend these commission meetings, from the beginning, we noticed from the outset that there were Pan African organizations that are sitting and attorneys who are sitting on this committee. Oppose a problem, and so persons or groups like the U.S. Freedmen's Project was able to have a lot of them removed. However, there are still some on that commission. And so these are what I call gatekeepers between us and the law and the state, in helping them to allow others who are from the diaspora to come in and disrupt what we are steadfast against. So, just continue to remain calm. This can be used as a learning experience for all of us because these commission meetings or hearings are going to start popping up all over the country if they have not already done so. I know Boston, DC, and other places already have. But do not become confused and banter with each other. Just be steadfast in your argument because your testimony is desperately needed at these commission meetings. I never miss any. I only missed about three, and that's because of illness. In fact, I just came out of the hospital myself. So there, the next one is on the 18th of September in Ithaca, New York. Persons like Brother Divine, Sister Brooke, and myself, we have been crisscrossing the state to make sure the testimony on behalf of our ancestors is.
More time, more time. I put 3 minutes. That should cover it, Jimothy. Please. And y'all pay attention. Y'all have to check y'all state website, y'all .govs to see if y'all reparations hearings have started, right? So I think Detroit is on that they started their hearings too, if not mistaken. And we know
Yes,
Cali. Yes, go ahead, Miss Keisha.
yes, they actually have as well. And so it is also very important that you view these committee meetings or commission meetings, I should say, so that you know what your brothers and sisters across the country are dealing with and are saying, so that it can be helpful to keep the message and the litigation consistent. You have to know that because there are many, and I mean every hearing that I have attended, have always come dissent from those from the diaspora. Every hearing, not some, all of them. In fact, you will have um, white tea people and Asians who will come up and say the same things that we're saying. You had one in Rochester, New York, that took place, and there was a city council person who is Puerto Rican who stood up and saw the shenanigans for what it was, and he said, "We shouldn't even be here. We have no business. Why were we called here? This has nothing to do with us. We shouldn't even be giving testimony. And that was the only person from the diaspora of all these committee meetings that have been held who spoke in direct opposition to what the commission is doing. They are stacking these commissions with legacy organizations who were dead set on receiving monies for their particular group for their particular reasons. And if you guys don't continue to show up at these hearings, it's going to be the very few of us who are arguing our point as foundational Black Americans. So we're going to need you all to pay attention around the country. You can view them virtually if you're not in these various states, but just to understand the language and what is happening. And so we can be on one accord with however you identify, whether it's foundational Black American or Negro or, descendant of freedmen, because even in genealogy, you had a lot of people who escaped or ran away from enslavement, gave themselves the last name Freeman. And so you cannot negate that perspective, even though that's not their original name given by the enslaver. They choose to identify themselves by that particular name. And so pay attention to your own family genealogy and be content on fighting for what is rightfully ours. Do not allow a slip of the tongue or a simple disagreement of language get in the way of the fight, because that is a war tactic that has always been used against us. And so, I would hope that more foundational Black American attorneys, like the late attorney at war, Automatic, used to say, we need y'all with an understanding of history and military science, because it is those two apparatuses that you need in a courtroom or in these commission meetings. And so I land my plane there.
And if
Thank you.
And if I may, I just want to see if I can put a solution with all these reparation task force that have their own hidden agenda. I know in California, I did deal with, I think his name was Javon. He was more from the Caribbean perspective. He ended up sending me a letter apologizing for I guess he was trying to insert the Caribbeans into the Negro reparation claim. I had started to move closer to Dover, and I didn't stay in touch with the reparation task force altogether, what was going on. But I know that what I would have done or would like for you all to consider doing is put together a Negro to Foundational Black American Ethic Committee. So now over the reparation. So basically, before any reparation task force is actually selected, that in all fairness, that you all get to see the individuals who are actually set on the platform. So it removes biasness and prejudice that is now currently y'all have historical history to prove that there has been bias, there has been misinformation, there has been distorted information, there has been information that has infringed in other kind of historical history that is causing the payouts or the people who are actually entitled to reparation to be sabotaged because there's on panel corruption. So you have some things that's going on when you're trying to deal with the individuals who are sitting on overseeing our issues, but they have their own hidden agendas. As they sit there and they listening to us, they're only trying to find a reason to excommunicate or exile the main point of us actually getting reparation, then pollute it in order to make a way for everyone else to get paid out from it, because the laws is more prejudiced and racist towards Negroes and foundational Black American than it is in any group of people. So in order to deal with it, first, just on the boots on the ground, is not only attend these reparation committee, but start having a reparation ethic and compliance committee that the reparation team itself has to go through before they actually can oversee and start talking about our issues. You want them to make sure that they're picking old Negroes such as myself, someone like myself is on those platforms. You want to make sure that they put a new person, a foundational Black American, that's also on those platforms. And then that way you can actually present, the historical facts of what has happened and the laws, whether it be human rights laws, whether it be the Constitution, whether it be civil rights laws, and the actual harm that happened then to right now today, that it can be presented and it can be weighed in the balance, and then an actual payout can be paid. That's just that simple. All this other stuff that they're interjecting and putting all this, that's corruption. All this other stuff and revenues and avenues that they're taking, that's distorting the facts and history. All this other claims and perspective that they're trying to do, those are all means to pull everyone else into making sure if Black people get something, everyone else got their hands out and expecting to get something too as well. We have seen this for years. And the only reason why there's such an upset about the things that I'm saying right now today is because it's specifically for Negroes and the descendants of Negroes. And now you have people who feel some type of way versus actually realizing that this particular claim, this particular lane, these particular harms, this particular bloodshed has absolutely nothing to do with anyone else but Negroes and their children. That's why it's called descendant. So whoever our descendants are, that's who they are. They can be Negro Cherokee, they could be Negro Caribbean, it could be Negro, whatever, because I know there was a time period that white people breeded. And if in fact they cover that time period, then okay, they're entitled to reparation. That's just simple. They're entitled to a claim. That's just simple as that. But we have to begin to see how we're going to, one, come together. How, two, it's us against everybody else. 3, have a strategy that actually says, we don't need you to gatekeep our stuff. We actually need you to get out of our way. Why? Because this has nothing to do with you. 2 is because you're actually trying to extort the very people who have gotten the harm. You're trying to extort them or exploit them. You're trying to do something yourself to criminalize the victims that are actually entitled to reparation. You keep removing them out of the paint in order for you to get a paycheck. So the Negroes who actually paid the cost to be the boss, that made all this happen, you mean to tell me they're never going to get no remedy? They're never going to get no justice? They're never going to get made nothing is ever going to be, they're never going to get freedom, liberty. Nothing is ever going to happen to these people. We ain't never going to get nothing. Come on now. I mean, come on now. I know, as far as I know, people should have a heart that's better than just robbing and stealing and killing from people. I think people should, have some kind of, ethic and compassion and all that kind of stuff that makes them people, just make you somebody, that makes you worth something, because you're standing on the side of righteousness versus the side of, injustice and unrighteousness. You're standing for something. And we're not asking. Remember, Negroes never asked to be here. Negro never asked to come in here and chain. We never gave our consent to be people who were slaved by another people and watch over 52 different continents or countries off the continent of Africa stand by and do absolutely nothing to help us in our struggles. But now every time you see we're doing something, they're involved, from Juneteenth all the way down to now sitting on the reparation forums. They in Negro schools. They in Negro HBCs. They're talking about Negro issues. Everywhere we look, they're intermingling in our affairs. So we need a committee, an ethic and compliance committee, to say these are specifically Negroes' affairs. And if anyone started to interfere, then that's called erasures. That's called whitewashing. That's called infringement. It's called interference. It's a whole bunch of laws I can give you to let you know what they're doing that is opposing to my group of people and to my descendants. There's a whole bunch of complaints that I can actually help you write in order to get us to where we need to be. Now, do y'all have the money for it is another thing. Now, are you willing to put up what it needed? Because I can only go so far. I still would need a team of lawyers when they start filing motions and when they started filing what they call demurs and all this other stuff that goes on in court. Well, that's money. You know what I'm saying? I could get it started, But then who's going to back it up once it start running? How I need to take my paperwork to other attorneys. Other attorneys want me to pay them to oversee the paperwork that I've already done. I can only pay for so much on my own. And Brother Roller can tell you, I sit here all day, every day, putting people on notice. I just put Netflix on notice and told Netflix to stop taking advantage of my people. Why you think they ain't talking all that craziness? Because they've been put on notice by the NBNU. You know, currently I'm dealing with the Office of Budget Administration because of their confusion that they've started putting them on notice that I'm watching over my people, but it's just me, you know, and I need you all to, do, you know, just take a proactive look at considering putting together a committee that is a compliance committee that requires that the people who are interfering with reparation, that they're ethically sound. What makes them ethically sound? Half of the people that was on California Task Force, I got one Asian person removed because I went back and did the history. She called black people monkeys in cage. But she was sitting on a reparation, trying to sit on a reparation task force. After I contacted the governor and told him I wanted her kicked off, they replaced her with some Korean person, but that was the only person I called. And then that other person that was from Caribbean. But I never made no big thing about it. I never posted. I never went on TV. I never did. I work in silence. I move in silence. I come up with a 1, 2, 3 hit a quitter. That's just how I do. And then before they realize it, it's a game changer. And that's all that matter. What can I do to change the game so my people can stop sweating the small things, so my people can get off the being homeless back into housing, for my people to have a nice cushion for not only themselves, but for their grandchildren, my grandchildren. You people who already got yours, you all should be just bow out and just go ahead and let us get something. Because right now, we're tired of people running rawshod against us and others for no reason. This is absolutely asinine. I've never seen anything like this in all my days. I've never seen this kind of vitriol, this kind of hate, this kind of this despisement, this kind of bias, this kind of prejudice for the most people who have been done wrong for 500 years. And their children has been wrong. And my grandchildren can't even go to school properly without seeing the N-word. My grandchildren can't even go to the parks, the movies, without being, or even walk dogs, without being some kind of bias or prejudice or some kind of mistreatment doing against them just because they're black or just because they're my descendants. Come on now. I can't die like this. Come on now. I can't. I absolutely can't. I can't die on my knees not knowing that I didn't do anything to contribute to change. I cannot.
And let me also, just as somebody from California who was at all the task force hearings and whatnot, mostly virtually, but there were 4 that I attended in person. And Jovan Scott Lewis, he was kind of like on the We Are the World train, but he was one of the 5 votes that were for the lineage recommendations. And I think Tamaki, he was also, I think he may have abstained from the vote, but there were Grills, who is Black American, Holder, who is Caribbean, and Reggie Jones Sawyer, who is Black American, and who lied and said that he couldn't trace his lineage. And then one of the Grassroots came and brought his own tree and was like, well, we traced your lineage for you, sir. But anyways, they were on the side of lineage repair. And then Jovan Scott Lewis, who is a Jamaican brother, who was a professor at Cal, he was one of the votes for lineage-based repair. So thank you for that, Sister Kim. And and there was one, and then the people that were for race-based repair, Holder, Tamaki, Grills, etc., they started an organization called ART, AART, in Cali, and they've been working directly with the California Legislative Black Caucus on the whole ALM crazy reparations packages that aren't really reparations in California. But thank you, Kim, for your advocacy, because that probably you got a response that was probably very instrumental in him making his vote on the correct side of history.
Yeah, he apologized to me, but I told him I got my eyes on him, and eventually I also warned him that I was gonna come and sue him. So yeah, he got the warning, and so did Governor Newsom and Kamala Moore. She's on my radar. She recently just blocked me because I told her all this information that she put together was a prolonged issue in order for them. They were getting paid stipend in California. She tried to act like they wasn't getting paid. They get paid stipend in order to do the studying. And then on top of that, she started to take the reparation claim to a every generational, everybody can get in it situation. And I sent her a notice and let her know that that's unethical, as her being an attorney that's doing research that was for Negroes, that it should have been started from the origin of Negroes right down to you all right now to the day. But I watch people's behavior. I watch people action. I watch people try to be slick because they can't help themselves because of 3 reasons. I'm just going to put 2 on there is the reason why we having problems. It's greed and power. And now, right now in the day, Kamala, whatever her name is, that's the attorney. She's actually over almost international reparations. She's running around everywhere, calling herself almost the queen of the reparation. And I believe she's Britain and black or something. She got some other kind of lineage going on. So she's not even one of us, but we held her in high regards because of her skin color. And y'all held her in high regards because she was an attorney, but she wasn't an attorney or after your own heart. She wasn't an attorney that actually was trying to get us paid. They wasn't sitting on there to make sure that we got the outcome we needed. They were there to actually get the stipend, prolong the situation, turn the situation to benefit all the diasporas, and then make sure that they're able to get something at the end of the rainbow that had nothing to do with us. And right now today, if you look closely on all these reparation involvement people, they're getting some kind of money from commissioners, from the cities, from allocated funds, from equality money. They're sitting on these same panels that the United States Treasurer is actually trying to get money to us, but they're sitting up here running a diversion to make sure that that money go through all these other programs under the auspice of reparation remedy or relief. And that's the reason why we haven't got $375,000 each for each of you all, is because of them. And until you all begin to form a reparational ethic committee that has legal requirement that I'll be more than happy to give to you all, that will go across every 50 state wherever they sit, and you guys give me a report, then I'm able to actually help you all move them out the way and get the relief and the remedies that you all are looking for, that has absolutely nothing to do with nobody but Negroes and foundational Black Americans, period.
Oh yeah, can I chime in about this Camila Moore
Thank
lady?
you so much, Miss Kim.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
her
Delaney.
whole task force was flawed from day one, and they're replicating the same game plan because there's certain type of safety features and protection mechanisms that are supposed to be on those task forces. She did not have any of those components that were on it, so it was already flawed since its inception, and she was the chairwoman of that. So she is people try to throw the blame on Gavin Newsom and all this other stuff. No, she is the chairwoman. She is in charge of that, and we didn't get the outcome. So we need to honestly be looking at her sideways, especially when she's hanging out with CARICOM, Afro descendants, talking about global reparations and all this other madness. Yeah.
Yeah, because we got the letter, Brother Roland.
Wait. Somebody said they don't agree. They need
Brother
to pull
Roland and I got the letter.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
that's
on
Camila.
stage. I'm on stage.
Yeah. What
I
you
don't agree
mean?
with
Yeah,
that.
we're talking about Camila Moore.
Yeah, Brother Roland.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah, Brother Roland
So
and I got
what
the
part
letter.
wait. I want to hear what part you don't agree.
There was an email that went out to a bunch of people in the state. I also got the email asking for people who wanted to be a part of the task force to be a part of it. Camila actually got asked by a bunch of people to put her hat in the ring. So that part is correct, but it wasn't like Camila's task force. The AB 3121 was already drafted and it was already, passed, and that's what made the task force. And then the other part is that, during the first few, hearings of the task force, it was, there was, what was his name? Oh my God, Professor Brown, holder. There were people that were going for the chair position, and they were specifically for lineage repair. And Camila was on the side going for, they were for race-based repair. Camila was fighting for lineage repair, and that was like the big rift for a good part of the task force. So it wasn't Camila's task force. Nobody was appointed as the chair when they started, and I'm actually glad that she was the chair, because that's why we were able to get lineage based to the front. Otherwise, that wouldn't have even been like advocated for.
Yeah, no,
So let me discuss why she's a problematic individual. When you're a chairperson of a task force, that means you control. You could tell you can get people expelled off of it if they don't meet the standard. She actually kept some of these individuals on the task force that were problematic. That was her problem.
She didn't
And on
have the authority to throw anybody off the task force.
No, Governor Newsom did, because once I wrote to Governor Newsom, he removed that. I think her name was, she was some Chinese person. She's actually now running into some kind of state or Congress field, but I forgot her, some Wong lady. But he removed her and placed her with the Korean person. Governor Newsom is the person who was responsible for the task force in general. But I do remember.
But Sister Kim, remember that feature that me and you discussed about that feature? You know what I'm talking about, right? The compliance part.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't she responsible for putting that onto that task force from last time I checked?
So what Brother Roland is talking about, Governor Newsom had a hidden plan to actually try to get money, the reparation task force, to finish up before the next president took place, so that the black people in California would have had some cushion. And while he was running for president, if they would have finished up with the task force, then the reparation could have been paid off, because he was supporting it. And then we would have had money in order to push him for as president, because he wanted our support. But because the timeline with Kamala had took a little longer, I actually got the email of him asking her to finish up with everything. As the chairperson, she asked for some extended time. He said no, he didn't want them to have some extended time, but they took leadway anyway and carried it out, because they were getting stipend. But he had a plan, and then it ran over to actually, you all not getting anything. We're not getting anything. And he tried to tell her not to do that. And they did it anyway, and it ran over, and then it lost its thrust. And then even though it had finished, no one was no longer going to support it. It became a problem on the Congress floor. New parties had moved in. Congress shut it down. Biden said reparation. He posted something where he said, he told Congress don't even consider reparation, because that's something that he's not going to fight or argue. So because of the time period and the timeline, that's when we started having problems. Reparation started going downhill. Reparation has not covered. Everyone was watching and seeing how the outcome of California was going to turn out, and it turned out disastrous. Now all over the world, people are just still talking about studying us, and no payout. Everyone is still getting involved, muddying up the water, making it difficult for us to get any payout. So the only way you're going to straighten this out is for Negroes and foundational Black American is to pull our power from Reparation Task Force to now oversee what it is that they're putting into the actual payout plan, and where they're getting the payout money, where it's coming from. Put the money together in itself, and realize that this is human right harms that should be paid immediately. And then go ahead and submit that bad boy. And then if they reject it, now you have another situation and another claim. Now it's constitutional violation, because there shouldn't be no reason why the Jewish people can be harmed, and then they get a reparation. And now when it comes down to Negroes and foundational Black America, the state and the federal does not want to pay. So you're talking about now a nation, a United States nation, who is discriminating against the people they done harm and doesn't want to pay. Now you got a constitutional claim or a constitutional problem.
All right. I want to say thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I want to say thank you, BX, for bringing my sister up on the stage to address that letter, because I knew when I see smoke, I see fire, and I knew that that whole letter. As soon as you told me that that lady was Indian, I already knew that it was gonna be problems with all that situation. It was not for us.
Right, right. So we have our work cut out for us. Thank you, Miss Kim. If you could still hear me, thank you for joining.
BX, did Miss
Yeah.
Kim have an organization? Did she name if she was putting together anything to work in conjunction with her?
You could talk to
It's
them
my
in the evening.
yeah, it's my organization, the Negro Black
Okay.
Knights
So
Heritage Club.
okay.
She's a part, and her government agency that's attached to my organization, which is the MBNU. You can reach out to us on Twitter, Facebook, even here, and I'll supply you the information in our website and everything that's dealing with us.
Okay. Thank you. That's exactly what I wanted to ask her. Thank you.
Yeah, that's no problem. It's mostly I'm normally the go-to guy, and I normally kind of keep her in the background, doing what she does, the legal paperwork and stuff like that. I just brought her up on to this situation because this was a legal letter coming from the Department of Justice, and I was reading stuff, but like I ain't no legally. I'm more of into the investigation work and historical reconstruction and stuff like that. This is not my scope, if you get what I mean. So that's the reason why I reached out to my sister and say, hey, check this out right here.
Yeah,
And,
and
and, and,
the
and
letter
my
is
bad, and Kingpin, my bad on that. I'll be more patient, brother. I'm just very protective of my people that I work with. Nothing personal, homie.
with the thing with the letter. That I won't call it, like, I guess it was a rejection, is that there were some people that were touting it as like celebratory. And it's like that letter is not anything to like be celebrated. Like that is not a good thing. That letter is very anti-black, but it does still affirm that what we've been saying is the right thing, that race-based policy is unconstitutional, and anything that is put forth in that way is going to get challenged, and is not, nothing may come from it. But still, what's really effed up, that also comes up, is that there's so many ways that let's say race neutral, that our people specifically are targeted. One instance I can think of is like for HBCUs, there are these like really great scholarships that were going out to Black students, but they were only going to people who were bilingual. And most of the people, I think 99, if not 100% of the recipients of said scholarship were foreign born children who are getting these scholarships paid for, because they're the people that are bilingual and trilingual because of whatever, and our kids, we're in this, big continent. And a lot of us are largely, single language speaking people, So, and then in the state of California, I just know about Cali mostly because I'm here and I be reading stuff. But, resources are garnered to English as a second, English language learners, ESL, English second language, and to their children and to the families, that educate them. And meanwhile, for American children and American families, we're hearing austerity. And what austerity means is just cutting the government, cutting the fat, cutting the fat, cutting the fat. So get rid of trades and schools, get rid of home ec, get rid of music, get rid of all of those like extra things that actually will help with the math and help with the reading and the ELA and stuff like that. So we're going to undereducate kids who speak only English in America, and we're going to invest in kids who are English language learners. And that right there, when you see like the data, the money is working, and wherever they spend the money, that is who is getting the benefit. And we know that our children are underinvested in. So, that was a big thing with the letter, is just like, this isn't a win. Like, this is effed up actually, but we can use it to our leverage. So I hope that's not too like Debbie Downer, but that was my thing with it.
I
Yeah,
never
that's what
seen the letter, but what I want to say is, if y'all not paying attention to these executive orders are following the brown print of HR 1 legislation, aka One Big Beautiful Bill, that was signed in July. Those are a lot of executive orders in that bill. And by Trump's executive order of HR One Big Beautiful Bill, under the Title One education funding, the ESL is being dismantled as we speak. Like, a lot of the things that we're advocating for is actually being handled. And I ain't going to go any further than that. But all of this skin color unity, I ain't with none of that at all. If you're not of this lineage, you ain't us, we ain't you. I don't get involved in all this. We all together, we all the world. No, we delineating forever. Business, romantic, politics, everything. We are under a genocide, ethnocide, erasure. That's how serious it is with me. Speak my piece.
Yeah, I wanted to chime in. I'm gonna be doing a space later on X about this HBCU that's going up in New York. I don't know if you're aware of this BX, but you might want to pop up in the space.
I
It's
will.
talking about that they're having a high school HBCU that's black and brown. Are you
Well,
familiar with that?
yes, I saw it yesterday, right? And the headline, the caption, everything said black until I got to the bottom part where they said HBCUs typically allows other students in there. But
No,
we
no, no,
already
no, 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 no. This is a black and brown HBCU. I got
a
documentation and
preparatory.
stuff to support. Yeah, it was a preparatory high school. Yes, ma'am. And then
Where did you see the
one of the things.
article?
Yeah, it's on my page.
Okay, okay,
I'm
no
I'm
problem.
gonna be running an X space at 4 o'clock on it.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's been bothering me about that because I used to live out in Connecticut. Connecticut was supposed to have an HBCU. See, it's a reason why they don't have any HBCUs up in the north.
Hmm.
Because they don't want it to compete against Harvard, Yale, Brown, all these other elite schools that are right nearby. Because imagine if you had it in New Haven. Our little black children will be right outside of New York. They can go back and forth and visit their mommy and poppy, all that stuff, and they daddy, whatever. And it wouldn't been. It's a reason why that they did that, and it actually stifled our development intellectually. So that's just some of the things I just wanted to go into further about. But I just wanted to share, just inform you if you wasn't informed about that, what was going on in New York, and that's underneath Eric Adams, I think too.
Yeah.
He's trying to gain that. Kingpin, I see you back, yo.
Yeah, I'm
Sorry
back.
about that, player.
Yeah, no, we good,
Salute to you, man.
we good,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
I
yeah,
understand.
yeah.
Good afternoon, Fresh.
And, I totally understand, man. I'm on my peaceful wave. I try not to crash out on BX panels. I love BX. I never want to like bring her pace down or anything like that.
Oh,
So
I love you
I'm
too.
yeah, I be on some cool stuff on BX panels. But Cheney University is in Pennsylvania. That was the very first HBCU. So
And
there.
you got Lincoln too. But I'm talking about specifically in the Northeast.
And, yeah, Pennsylvania's in the Northeast.
Nah, in Pennsylvania, we could throw that in the Midwest category. I'm talking about like in the Connecticut,
Oh
New
no, I'm
England.
in Philly. What the hell are you talking about? We're gonna fuck with East
We're
Coast,
gonna throw
man.
y'all in the Midwest. We're
You
gonna throw
can
y'all
throw
in the
you can throw
Midwest.
yourself on the West Coast. We the fucking East Coast. We the first. This is where the fucking country was birthed. What are you talking about? We above the Mason Dixon
We
line.
we throwing y'all
Fucking
right next to
retarded.
we throwing y'all right next to
You
Ohio,
ain't.
sir.
See, this that
To,
sucker
deli-
shit.
to
I'm
We
delineation,
ain't doing none of that.
hey, to delineationist and
Fuck out of
DH
here.
and DH, I
With a
appreciate y'all, boys.
Constitution, Bill of Rights, and Declaration of Independence is in the
I'm
North.
nitpicking.
Hold on.
So
Coach,
how
I'm
can it be in the
nitpicking.
South if it's in the North?
I didn't say the South, brother. I said the Midwest, brother.
No, we are. How
I
can
was
it be
just
in the
I'm just
Midwest if we in the
joking though.
North?
Hey, you're right next to Ohio, brother. You're right next to
How
Ohio.
are we in the Midwest if we are the fucking North with the first?
Y'all not the original
Are
13
you?
colonies,
Are
all
you?
right? Y'all
Are
not the
you?
13. You're not the 13.
Well, the White House was first here. So what are we talking about?
Maybe I need to do some homework then.
Yeah, I'm looking at a
My
map of the
goodness,
United
man.
States. I'm gonna make a call. Pennsylvania is in the Northeast. It's not in the Midwest. But heart to you,
Man.
delineation.
Yeah, my bad on that. I know coach was about ready to catch. He's like, "Don't get on Philly."
Well, it ain't even about that. We about accurate American history, man. Like, fuck that.
Coach,
No.
hey, coach, ready to catch that fade delineation? Is come on now.
Ain't no ready. I'm already outside every day. Like, that's why I laugh at all this tough shit on this internet. We don't experience this outside on our ancestors USA. So that's why I don't even be disrespecting nobody online, man. Cause you know we don't see this craziness outside. But everybody got enough heart online. But I'm sick of our people checking their streets.